Hello, today our group is going to present you with our final project data analysis of Google Play Store. Let me introduce the context first. There will be 5 parts: project introduction, problem statement, dataset, methods, and conclusion. First is the introduction. A large variety of mobile apps emerges every day, affecting our daily life in a profound way. So analyzing the big data of mobile apps is beneficial to users and companies because from users' point of view, big data analysis could help to find the best app to suit their needs. For companies, on the other hand, by analyzing similar products and competitive services, it can make improvements. So we choose the Google Play Store apps dataset, which is official apps for the Android system. Because the Android global market share remains a leading position, which accounts for 75% of market shares. So finally, we discovered that the change of total number of apps categories with the most downloaded app category, and average rating trends of apps increase over years and make regression to find factors affecting the in-store. We choose our dataset from Kaggle, which is one of the biggest dataset websites. The dataset is called Google Play Store Apps, which is 676.46 MB. Each app has values for category, rating size, and more. And within the datasets, contains a huge quantity of basic information about apps. And the dataset is also clean and less missing, reducing the difficulty to analyze. Besides, the data was collected in the last year, which is relatively new. So we choose the dataset. That's all. Thank you.
In this part, I will discuss the research questions our team raised. They are mainly focused on 4 parts. The first one is data cleaning, how to filter out high-quality data from the huge data sets for in-depth analysis. Secondly, general analysis, how to get the basic information of the apps through conditional filtering. How many free apps are there? How many with advertisements? Which currency do developers mostly prefer? What category have the most apps developed? The next part is installation analysis. Which apps dominate the download rankings? How many apps have the highest percentage of downloads in the app market? Lastly, the rating analysis. What are the ratings for most apps? Which category has the highest average rating? Do editor's choice apps have higher average ratings? What trend does the average app market rating change from year to year? Next, please. Now let's move on to why big data. So why did our group choose this data set? We are interested in the Android app market. It is full of data about app features and user feedback for over 10 years. Because of the long duration of recording, we are able to track and analyze the market trend. From a deeper perspective, we can find the connections between developers, users, and supervisors. And why the dataset is big data? Since if we try to open the dataset through some traditional processing tools like Excel, it will crush or show only parts of the dataset. It also qualifies 3 V's characteristics of big data. It is over 500 megabytes, and it requires fast processing and accessing rate. And the data type is diversified, which includes string, numeric, Boolean, timestamp, etc. Next, please.
This part is method and result. We first conducted a general analysis of apes. First, we conducted general analysis of all apes. We used Hive to count the total number of free apes, advertisements, supported apes, apes in editor choices, and the most frequent currency. Then we found that nearly 100% apes in free and in editor choices. Then we use Hive to count the number of apes in different categories and released in different years. Then we found that education and music audios are the top 2 categories with most apes. And also in 2020, the number of released apes peaked in 10-year period. The second part is installation analysis of apes. First, we use Hive to calculate the total number of installation of different categories. Then we found the new communications and the tours at the top 2 category with most installations. Then we use Hive to calculate the top 15 apps with most installations. We can find that YouTube app is the top apps with not more than 9 billion installations. The last is install interval proportion analysis. We can find that installation between 10 million and 50 million is the most have the most apes.
Next is our rating analysis part. First of all, we want to look at the distribution itself. In general, most of values are distributed on rating grade over 4. The whole distribution is skewed to the left, indicating some extreme value on the left. There are 26K apps are rated as 4.4, which is mode of distribution. Apps with a rating higher than 4 holds more than 80% of overall downloads. We use the Hive to calculate the average rating of each category. The average rating of all apps is 4.03, and there are only 11 out of 48 categories average rating higher than it. The average rating of editor apps is 4.32, indicating editor choice app tends to have better feedbacks. Book and reference are the categories with highest rating. The weather is the categories with the highest rating editor choice app. In general, the average rating generally increased over years from 3.64 to 4.21 from 2010 to 2021. The upward trending indicates the app is constantly improving the user satisfaction. Next is our regression analysis.
Thanks, Chenggang. Next, I will talk about our regression of the number of installations of Google Play Store apps. For our model, we use variables rating, the number of ratings, the dummy variable of whether the app was free, the dummy variable of whether the app supports in-app purchase, and the dummy variable of whether the app is an editor's choice. We use PySpark for our regression, the cleaning of data, the assembling of variables, and we eventually received an R-square of 37.45% on our training data. In conclusion, we have the following key findings of our dataset using big data tools. Out of the more than 1 million free apps on Google Play Store, 512,000 apps support advertisements, representing a slightly more dominant strategy for app developers. From 2010 to 2020, the number of apps increased from less than 2,000 to more than 243,000, showing a CAGR of 161.7% per year. The growth trend was strong, showing an optimistic outlook for the industry of app development. We also found that the categories with the most applications are education, music and audio, business, and so on. Clearly, developing apps from these categories are the optimal decision of app developers, which, not surprisingly, have overlaps with the list of the most downloaded apps. From the customer's point of view, the most downloaded app was YouTube, with more than 9 billion downloads since its debut. The most downloaded category was communication with 35.87 billion downloads. Clearly, free streaming platforms and communication softwares are the more indispensable component of people's digital lives nowadays. Eventually, we also found that the apps ranked with 4 to 4.5 rating out of 5 received more than 72% of total installation, saying that the App Store market is efficient and it encourages developers to build better user experience for better business outcomes. In the appendix, we also list our data source and code we used for our previous analysis. Thank you all for listening. We're happy to answer your questions.